So much to talk about over the course of this week. So much has gone down, especially in terms of our trailers that we've gotten to some of our favorite series, our favorite upcoming, highly anticipated series, as well as films. So let's see what we got. We have The Boys, we have Rise, we have Umbrella Academy, we have Prey, and we also have an MCU series that's on the way. All that and more on This Week in Review, only on Movers and Shakers Unlimited. All right, what's up, guys? As I said, so much to talk about on This Week in Review. Happy that you can join us now. And of course, as always, on This Week in Review, I have here joining me.
What's up? What's up? Jerome Bourgeois, co-founder, co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. How's it going, man? Had a fun week.
Had a busy week.
A lot going on.
A lot going on. If you guys have been keeping track of anything that we've been doing with social media, a lot has been going down event wise, as well as, as I said, with the publicity. Publicity train has been, really hitting the ground hard with making us aware of a lot of these shows, as well as movies that we know and love. So let's just dive right in, because there's a lot to discuss.
This episode 62. So
absolutely, 62. Absolutely. So first and foremost, I want to get into we can call this a very, as you saw in the title, very heavy trailer discussion episode. And the first one that we will talk about is none other than The Boys Season 3. So let me pull that up here. So much has gone down, over the course of last season, and the revelations that were made, as well as Stormfront and what went down there, and what's next on the horizon. We've seen like teaser trailers of what else is coming, and there's some elements that folks are really anticipating from the books. You have this crazy event known as Herogasm, and mind you, I have not read the comics. However,
it's really called Herogasm.
Oh, Herogasm, excuse me.
It is.
But yeah. It's so much craziness that happens in this show. So many WTF moments that happen in this show. So just based off of the trailer and what they tease, it seems like it's going to be so much more of the same and then some. So Jerome, I know we've had this discussion, and we've talked about the fact that you have not seen The Boys yet, and I'm caught up. I've seen the first 2 seasons, and it is insane. And I know, in terms of as I said, those shows that have those WTF moments, I know that's kind of your jam, when it comes to a lot of shows, as long as it's interesting and in terms of the story is intriguing. So tell me your thoughts. Hopefully, you'll have a chance to catch up before get the new season.
No, I mean, like I said, it wouldn't be really fair for me to try and analyze this as much. But I will say, I watched the trailer, and it does look good. I mean, obviously it has that irreverent, theme and just tone, and I mean, no, I like seeing that. I mean, because it's true, like like in the vein of like Kick-Ass or Peacemaker, and the Suicide Squad. Like, I mean, I like that style of a superhero film or TV series. So I mean, I'll eventually check it out. But I mean, it does look. I mean, like the combination of like that type of humor and gore and ridiculous violence. And obviously, you have great actors in there. I mean, you got Giancarlo Esposito, you got Carl Urban, and all those other people. I know some other cast members were supposed to be in the next season or something. So I think Sean Patrick Thomas and some other people. I saw some announcement. I don't know to look that up. But
so you have Jensen Ackles. He's playing a very kind of similar to what we have with Peacemaker. He's playing a very, I guess you could say, douchey Captain America, a ripoff, and uh, they tease it in the trailer. What he brings to the table. He has that enhanced strength, but apparently he has some other abilities that they tease as well. So and based off of the dynamic that we've always had with the main superhero team, the Seven, and the dynamic between each of those characters, and how things really pop off whenever you introduce like a new energy or a character to that group. I'm really intrigued to see what will happen in that regard of having his character make an addition on an already dysfunctional superhero team that we have on that show. So do you have any,
Oh, yeah, just a correction. That's Sean. They're doing a spinoff for like three of the characters in a college version. It's gonna have Patrick Schwarzenegger, Sean Patrick Thomas, and Marco Pigossi. They're gonna be in a high profile set for high profile recurring roles in a college set spinoff of The Boys. That was in Deadline. So yeah, I guess I was confusing that, but no, I mean that's a testament to the show. I mean, obviously it's good enough so they're gonna have a spinoff version. How many episodes do they have a season usually?
well, typically it's pretty standard. Is they normally go about nine or
Okay,
10,
that's
if
good.
I
That's good.
recall. So it's normal.
Yeah.
It's not like the short run that you normally would see with like some of the MCU shows. They normally have like a pretty standard number of
Yeah,
episodes.
I mean, because it's a series more than like a mini series. I mean, a lot of some of those Marvel ones are like mini series, but
Yeah,
basically. But no, that's cool. I mean, hey, I'm eventually get to it, man. There's a lot of shows, but
indeed.
yeah, obviously you're hyped enough that you're excited about it. So yeah, I'll check it out. Hey, man,
All right. Well, you got some time to catch
I
up.
take your recommendations.
Indeed, indeed. All right. So next up, we have a film, coming to Disney Plus that is something that is close to my heart because I love basketball, and it follows the story, the inspirational story of the Greek Freak, the film known as Rise. So Jerome, I know that you're not heavily into the sport of basketball. However, still just based off of uh the the iconic story of Giannis, and how he made his way to get drafted into the NBA, and making his footprint in the league after such turmoil in terms of that path that he had to get to the NBA. What are your thoughts on what you saw?
But yeah, no, we were just talking about this off camera. It's like, I mean, I don't even think it. I mean, you don't even have to be that well versed. I think in any sport, if the story is good enough behind the actual person or the team or the character or something specific or unique in addition to just basketball players or whatever sport it is, and they're like, oh, we're gonna they finally achieve that status of like winning or becoming one of the best. I mean, and just watching the trailer, like I said, this is just based off of the trailer. The trailer. Sorry, I'm gonna lose my voice a little bit. No, it looks really interesting. The idea of because they're immigrants and like it deals with immigration and family and doing whatever it takes to make it so your family can thrive and succeed. And it's just interesting the idea, like because it's three brothers, not just one. I mean, that is pretty impressive. I know you're saying like obviously one of them is a lot better than the other, but whatever. I mean, still, you can't be bad. You have to be somewhat amazing to just get into the NBA. I mean, even if you're on the low end, like come on, they're still getting paid pretty well on the low end compared to like the average person. But no, I mean, it looks inspirational and really compelling for a basketball story. And like I was saying, it's like I just feel like for any type of sports film, like you really have to have something else besides just the sport, the winning aspect, or like the just a successful, like the actual rise, no pun intended or pun intended, to eventually make it to where that athlete eventually becomes in the future. Because I mean, just like with Winning Time, the rise of the Lakers dynasty on HBO. Like I said, I mean, obviously most the average person or most people would know like, hey, the Lakers did really well or whatever. But how the rise of that dynasty and like the details and everything. Like I didn't know about a lot of that stuff, and that's what made that show interesting. I was like, this is really cool. Even though I'm not, like I said, even though I'm not a hardcore like basketball fan, or I don't even really I don't follow it like that. It's still that's still a great show. Like I can see like it's like I said, it's the characters, story, and like the situations, and like the development, the different arcs for the characters, and just like the plot. I'd also say it's the same with like King Richard. Like I said, I barely know anything about tennis, but it doesn't matter. That movie's still amazing. Just the story behind it. So no, I'll definitely check this one out when it comes out. So yeah, thanks for letting me know about it.
Indeed, indeed. All right. So as I said, super heavy, trailer, episode. The next one that I wanted to get into and dig into is Umbrella Academy season 3. There's so much in terms of like the superhero world that I feel like is being done a lot. And one thing that I feel that is being done a
A
whole
lot of
bunch is just
multiverse.
a lot of multiverse. But to be fair, like it's been a couple of years. I actually even forgot myself. Where upon seeing the trailer and them picking directly up where the prior season left off, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. So like, I'll put this up because I know you haven't seen it. So if you don't want to hear it, I get it. If anyone else hasn't caught up, but I will put this up. Spoilers. So like at the end of the last season, after they resolved, there's always like a big like issue or mystery that they have to resolve. That it seems like their group always has a hand in, even though they're saving the world, it always appears to be something that a member of their team has caused that is that problem or that issue. So, with this upcoming series, it left off on a cliffhanger where they had an alternative version of their team. When they went back to their prior time. And by the way, looks like we had someone who hopped in. Hello, Nathan. What's up? How you doing? Thanks for joining us. But yeah, so like it appears, based off of what I recall from the prior season, it picks up where the last season left off, where they were trying to return back to their current time, and when they tried to return back to their current time, they didn't exactly wind up in the time that they expected they would be in, and are basically in a time where there are alternative versions of them. Now, just like with the boys, which is why I felt that it's kind of funny that they had trailers pop up around the same time. They have that same dynamic where it's not as even though it's dysfunctional, it's not as, what's the word that I want to use? It's not as it's still very clear, even underneath all the dysfunction, that these are a group of people that care about one another, versus what can arguably be said about what is it about the seven that you have in the boys. There's a lot of, and that's the word I was looking for, animosity. There's far more animosity that you come across in the boys than what you have here with the Umbrella Academy. Yeah, they get into their fights and they have their disagreements, but at the end of the day, they still have each other's back, and they're still a family at the end of the day. And that's not necessarily the case when it comes to the boys. There's a lot of dysfunction and animosity among each of those characters in that show, in contrast to this one. Now, similar to the boys, I know you're not up to speed on
You
Umbrella
obviously
either.
love these
You got
shows.
some viewing to do, man.
Hey, when we do one on the first, when we do the one on the First Lady, you're not gonna know about that one.
Okay, fair.
That show I think is good. I know some people were trying to hate on Viola Davis' portrayal of Michelle Obama, but I thought it's still, I think it's still amazing, because the same sort of thing. Like for me, I like shows. I mean, going back to the basketball one, I know that we're talking about this, but like I like shows where like based on real stuff, and then they show the details, and you're like, oh, that's something else that happened, so that's cool. Okay, for this, yeah, I mean, I dig the whole multiverse thing and all that, and I just never really was excited about, or had excitement for this. But like I said, there's so many shows, I can check it out, and I mean, I mean, like I said, you were more excited about Stranger Things before I even watched it, and I'm like, oh, Stranger Things. Now I'm into it. So it's like, not everything, but I mean, like I said, eventually I get to it. But I looked at the trailer too. I was like, okay, cool. Like I like the superhero stuff. I like the whole sci-fi and a genre. But the thing is, I will say, like, I do think it's kind of hilarious, all this multiverse stuff, and it just shows like that. I think that's just a Hollywood thing, that a trend that happens after, you know, you have the big movies doing it. But it's funny, you can go all the way back to the one. Like, come on, man. The one came out a while back. They were doing that multiverse thing a while back. But
No, I hear you. I hear
I
you.
mean, because even A24 has that everywhere all at once or whatever, everything everywhere all at once with Michelle Yeoh, and I'm like, I still need to see that, and that's another multiverse. But I'm just like, all of a sudden, let's do multiverse has become a hot commodity. So it's interesting to see different perspectives on that and how people want to portray that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, but obviously, I think no matter what, even if you're gonna approach that, your characters have to be interesting and like unique, and there's got to be interesting character development, interactions, and just situations, and that, and like it looks like there's a good contrast in this ensemble, and I mean that is a way to make it entertaining. But yeah, if you really want to break it down, I mean, come on, from the one to what is it, Avengers Endgame, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and then you go back to the CW DC shows. I mean, there's like 6 or 7 movies or TV shows doing this, going back to that. So like,
no, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
that's kind of crazy. I mean, what not? Maybe the next Fast and Furious movie there'll be a multiverse.
No, I hear you.
Anyway,
So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do, and if you're looking there above, shout out to Justin and Tom. I was fortunate to be able to moderate their panel a couple of years ago at Rhode Island Comic Con. They were super cool, and it was around the time when they were still kind of tight-lipped about season 2. So this was actually like prior. This is what, 2019. This was prior to them doing season 2, and now here we are, season 3. Talking about what's to come. So it'll be very interesting to see what they have in store, because as I said, there are a lot of interesting elements to this show. How you could say a lot of their abilities very much kind of correlate to the type of personalities that they have, and how well versed or how well in sync a lot of those abilities play to how they function within their quote unquote, within their kind of like adopted family that they've created among their team. So it is never like a dull moment, that you have so many kind of eccentric and zany characters among that group. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing, what they have in store for us for this upcoming third season. Again, a third season. So moving on, as I said, again, a heavy trailer episode.
Hey, you wanted to do all the trailers.
Hey, we had a lot of trailers.
Hey, but there is news about Daredevil series too. Anyway,
indeed.
But we'll talk about that later.
Next up, and we've actually talked about this story a great deal in terms of
a few times
its development, and now it's finally here. And that is the trailer for the upcoming Predator prequel known as Prey. So that trailer, dropped this week, giving us a look at, the setting that they had in store, or that they have in store with this upcoming prequel. Jerome, what are your thoughts on what brief stuff they showed us? I mean, they didn't really show that much.
You really want me to tell you what I think, bro?
It's a teaser, so
it's a teaser, but it doesn't impress me or not. I'm going into this with the lowest expectations, because like I said, I don't even see really the reason why they need to do this. To me, it sounds like a money grab, and there's a reason. Like, why is it on Hulu? Okay, I think that also could tell you a lot too. But there's not, like I said, I'm not really that interested in all these Predator movies and sequels being done, like trying to recreate what they did in the first one. It's like you're not going to recreate what you did in the first one. The closest thing you can do is add to it or change the setting or add some unique element. I'm just getting tired of them trying to keep recreating a version of hunting a predator in the jungle. It's like that was not the only reason why the first movie was great. But like I said, they could surprise me. Maybe, I don't know. I just feel like they're just trying to be like, oh, let's change out the main character, and we're gonna use female character, or I don't know, or maybe because they're Native American. I don't know. It could be good. I'm going in with low expectations. It's kind of like with the Matrix Resurrections. So
Yeah.
but
So okay. So
it doesn't impress me at all. Really.
I have some thoughts. So there's been a lot of people have had a lot to say about there seems to be an effort to be diverse, and is it being done in a way where it doesn't seem like they're trying really hard, if that makes any sense. So that I know that's been the criticism. I could care less, as long as the character is interesting. I'm glad that they do have a female character in there that will be our protagonist. I mean, we've had female protagonists in some of the other installments, but not necessarily as the lead. Having the setup of it being, against, Native Americans, especially considering the setting, that part is intriguing too, because up to this point, even though the predators are far more advanced than us, I feel like the technology that we had is close enough, near enough to what they have, where we are still able to kind of hold our own under rare circumstances. But in this setting where, we don't have, you don't have rifles and guns and things like that. And they really, you have characters that really kind of have to, use their wits with weapons that are far, 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 far inferior to what the predators have at their disposal. It presents an interesting,
except for their vision. Their vision isn't that advanced. They look at body heat, and they gotta, I'm just saying that, and you can camouflage.
Yeah.
That's their weakness. So, they don't see; they just see your body heat or whatever, and that's how Schwarzenegger got him. But that's probably why they're playing on this. I'm not even talking. I think diversity. I'm all for that, but that's not my issue. My issue is like they don't seem to be adding that much to the story. That's my problem.
Here's my thing. I think
just because it's a Native American, that's not enough. They're still trying to hunt in the jungle. Like at least Alien versus Predator, they had an alien. Like they added something else to the story. Predator 2 was in the city, totally different setting. It's a cop turned into. I know people try to hate on that. I don't care what people say. They're hunting. It's a detective story. He's trying to find out who killed it, and he thinks gangs did it. Like
I get it. Yeah, trust me, I get it.
This is okay. Let's go. Let's do our history. What is it? Predator. Well, Predator's okay. That was a little bit different, but it's still in a jungle setting. Predators, the Predator. Okay, at least you had two other tries.
The most recent one, you had the Predator, right? Which they had the little hybridization. I'm saying
those two movies, they try to you could tell there's a really strong effort on the studio or whatever to be like, we gotta have them hunt them in the jungle. Like, I just don't understand this thing of we just have to, you don't need to always do that. That's just my issue. It just seems like they're just trying to copy the first one and be like, hey, let's put some characters who just aren't as interesting as.
I get it, but this goes to my theory.
It's so to me that's just terrible.
I think it's more so that they're trying to figure out. I'll be honest, I think
that's what makes it great. I think that's my problem with it.
No, I got you. I guess what I'm picturing in terms of theory is that even though it may not be admitted, even though they have what's the word that I want to use? They have gotten these characters, they've gotten the alien characters, they've inherited. That was the word that I wanted to use. Based off of the merger, they've inherited, the characters in Predator, they've inherited the characters of aliens in that franchise. They may not know what to do with it. Like Disney may not know what to do with it. So maybe now by moving it, and not to say that it'll work, but maybe this is an effort to really, really, really pull back and that's why they're trying to go all the way back to, it seems like, what is it? I believe it's the 1700s from what they've said in the synopsis. But going way back in the past is they're really trying to, as you said, trying to recapture whether that's the right
It's
direction
the
to go
past.
or not.
Okay, I guess it's the past.
Whether it's the right way to go or not. I agree with you.
How about this? How about this? Is
From.
this really a hard idea? Why don't you make a movie on the Predator planet? Like, has anyone thought about that?
Awesome. That would be awesome.
Anybody thought? But it was like, it's not even that hard.
That's also ka-ching. That's also money.
Really?
So,
really?
Yeah. Really.
How much? No. It's just laziness, man. Like, it has to do with, like, this is the problem I have with a lot of these students. Like, I don't know what they're thinking. They're trying to just follow some formula. They think something works for the wrong reason, and then it's not the reason. Like, you can't copy the first one. That was a certain time period. It was what. It's not just.
I get you.
It's like, just something simple. Make it set on the planet. Maybe you could show something of the origins of, like, I would rather at least see that. But this idea of, like, let's just hunt humans in another way, I'm like, y'all, this is where people get pissed at sequels. Like, why are you making sequels that are just trying to recycle the first one? Like, and I know people didn't like somehow, the second one didn't do as well, but at least I give the second one an effort for putting it in a different setting, and it was like they weren't trying to cut. And it's like, I think it's probably more.
I feel like
that's my problem with these damn sequels. They just can't be. They cannot come close to the first one or the second one. With
this franchise, with this franchise, there is a need to take chances and be brave about where you place, the characters and the Yautja, the aliens. However, I do get what, like, as I said, whether it's the right direction to go or not, we'll see when we see the film. Whether it's the right direction to go, but it seems like they're trying to do the safe route of having characters that are not big name stars, because that helps into their budget. Having it into a setting where they have a huge disadvantage in terms of how they're going to be able to fight against the Yautja aliens. So you have that element. So that's probably,
but not really though. But do they? Because how did Schwarzenegger kill the Predator? He wasn't using his gun. He used he got mud all over, and he was using like sticks. Like, I'm just saying,
he wasn't. So
the machine guns didn't do anything. So that's what I'm saying.
They the stars. Hold on. So you have the stars. You have the setting. You don't necessarily, unlike one thing that, and it, based off of the trailer and what we've seen, it doesn't appear to be that way. It seems like they're going to just go with a couple of characters. We're not going to have, which is what they tried. It seemed what they tried to do in the last couple of movies is recapture the first film by having a whole ensemble of characters that the Yautja evolved one by one, but it's not the same. But I will
it's
say
lazy writing. That's what it is.
I will say this. As many detractors as we have for those last two installments, even
Predators was all right. It was all right.
That's what I'm saying. Even though they were nowhere near, the first Predator, there were portions of Predators that I did like, in terms of like that idea of having, these characters that were, the most dangerous people of where the place where they were from. That was an interesting idea. And then even in the Predator,
even get the original characters in that though. That's like, because that's why Rob Rodriguez was trying to do. He was trying to do. They were saying they were trying to do one with Danny Glover and Rod, and they didn't even get him in there.
Well, hold on. They were trying to do the same thing with the Predator 2. Let's just say the last one. I'm not trying to say Predator 2, but the Predator. They were trying to do it in that one because allegedly the end credit scene that we had with that ridiculous like suit, that was supposed to be Arnold Schwarzenegger allegedly. So like there's so many times where they were trying to like recapture, that. So I'll just say this. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out. I'll still be there to check it out to see, how it is. However, I will agree with you that if this franchise is going to continue much in the same way that we have with like Fast and Furious, it needs to be revamped in some way where you're changing things up.
Like copying the original one. That's all.
You need to change it like drastically and go in a different direction.
It reminds me of with the Terminator films too. Like, even though I did like the last one, and they added some stuff, and that was probably the best sequel after the Terminator 2. But if you really look at Terminator Dark Fate, like, I love James Cameron, and I thought it was a pretty good movie. it was like it was just remaking the second one. It's like, you ain't gonna make a better version of Terminator 2. Sorry. And that's another problem too. Same with that franchise. I mean, come on, they did like after it's almost like they did three. It's almost like, if you really think about it, because that Terminator Salvation, that was more in the future, but just thinking of like going back in the past, that was like the third remake of a sequel to Terminator 2. So if you want to, for this one, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like they keep trying again to try to revamp it, and low expectations. I'm not even thinking that this is going to be good at all, but they could surprise me somehow. Anyway, and also the Alien franchise, I think it's the same thing too. They just keep trying to do the same crap over again. It's pretty
I still think they should have done
sad.
that Neil. They still should have done that Neil Blomkamp film that we never.
Yeah, maybe that might be, but even so, I don't know. If he just tried to copy Chappie and District 9, then it still would be whack too. But whatever. Even though
based off of what's out there, of what he had planned and the concept footage that we had, it looked like it was going to go an interesting direction, but that's not.
No, I hope. I'm saying I hope, because I like him, but like, I hope it wasn't just trying to copy his other movies.
Oh, it wasn't.
I'm hoping.
If those concept photos are anything to go by, it was nowhere near it. But anyway, I digress. Let's hop.
Anyway, man. Yeah.
Last trailer.
Let's make a Predator movie on the Predator planet. If y'all don't want to do it, I'll do it. Okay.
We'll look back on this and see.
Goodness.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, man,
it's not be directing.
Watch him steal my idea. Watch him steal my idea.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna look back on
y'all have some really terrible people making these decisions.
Oh yeah, remember that time where my colleague Jerome said that he was going to?
You got it on camera. I'm just saying that's just one pitch. It's a simple idea. I can think of some other ideas. How come it's so hard for some? I mean, that's all I'm saying. I'm like, who's making these decisions? I really want to.
Got it, man. You got it. We'll look back on this and say, oh yeah, you said you want to direct. You say you want to direct a new Predator.
I would do it. I would do it too. I do like the Predator, but like, but anyway, I'd rather make my own type of alien movie, not just. But whatever. No, I would love to do a direct a Predator movie or something. But on the alien planet, we bring Schwarzenegger and Glover, Danny Glover back. Hell yeah, man! Come on.
CGI them, man. You have to see.
Oh, they're older. Who cares? They're older and they're still kicking ass. Danny Glover's coming back for Lethal Weapon 5. Him and Mel Gibson.
Yeah. We'll see. But as I said, it'll be funny. You heard it here first. If that ever comes to fruition, we'll look back on this and laugh. But anyway, hopping into our last story, we did have an MCU series that debuted its trailer this week, and that's none other than She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Well, that part I felt was interesting that they added that subtitle.
Unnecessary.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you know the character, we know that she's a lawyer, but I guess for casual fans, they may not be aware of of that title or the job that she has. So I get to be able to brand it with that additional title, but. Jerome, what are your thoughts on the trailer that we were given? I know that there's been a lot of controversy in terms of, well, not a lot of controversy, but there's been, some disappointment. Controversy is too strong.
Well, some people are just hating.
But I'm disappointed with the CG. Like
that's the only issue I kind of had was the CGI. I was like, it looks like it's not done yet, or what? Because I mean, they have already proven they can have a green female character in their movies, and it looks pretty good. But obviously, it wasn't CGI with Gamora, or maybe they had some, but it was Zoe Saldana getting up really early.
But she's also not so it's a little different.
Yeah, but you can combine. There's camera tricks. There's a lot of things you can do. But I'm saying it's been done. Like, there's a way to do it. Like, you can do stuff. But anyway, even with the CGI, like, I don't know why. It seemed like they did a better job, obviously, with the Hulk, looking more realistic. But for what he is, I mean, look at Thanos. I mean, Thanos is CGI and he looked great. I mean, of course, you could still tell there's some CGI element, but it still looked really like, realistic because of the features and facial expressions and everything about it. It just didn't look like a straight up, like animated kind of. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say budget issues because they spend a lot of money on these shows too, and they're trying to have them intertwined with the real, the movie universe. So I don't give me that as an excuse because Disney has plenty of money, and I don't think they'd want to slack. But whatever. But maybe it's just not done yet, and they just had to release a trailer. But that's the only thing for me. I think I like the idea how it's like it's kind of like the Good Fight or The Good Wife meets like a superhero version of that, or more like I'd say the Good Fight because it's more about like the law firm. So if they go into that, but I'm just really intrigued to see like and it's cool how they had Abomination in there, and I'm sure he's going to be a factor. And it's cool bringing back older characters like that, like with Tim Roth. I just really want to see how they bring in. I'm sure they're going to bring in Daredevil somehow. That'd be interesting. Because obviously the announcement of continuing the Daredevil series from Netflix to Disney Plus, even though I don't know how they're going to keep that dark on Disney Plus, or they're going to. I don't know. As long as they make it dark, I'll be good. But I mean, the tone is kind of
on Hulu at this point.
No, I know, but it's not. But I'm just saying they said Disney Plus series. If they're putting on Disney Plus, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they could always.
I think it should be on Hulu, just like we're. I mean, look, we just talked about Prey. That's gonna be on Hulu. And there's FX on Hulu. All those shows. I mean, come on, you have Snowfall and all that stuff. But I'm just saying that's the only thing for me regarding it's just that CGI was looking like it just looked like it just wasn't done, or it's just I don't know what happened. It just looks too animated. It looks too clean and not as believable. But the scenarios and the character and how bringing in the Hulk, going more to that and his like their relationship because they're cousins. And it will be interesting to see like how from a really having a show. I mean, besides obviously Daredevil went into the whole idea of being a lawyer, but they, like I said, they weren't really going into the connected superheroes in the MCU and defending them. Oh, well, that's true. Like except for Spider-Man, of course, at the beginning, but to really go into it, and then if you have Daredevil have a cameo, which I'm sure he's going to be there. I think that would be cool. Like just going into that and seeing how they get. There's people getting defended or not, and then you're defending other superheroes or whatever. I think that could be. That's what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, man, they got to get the CGI better. It's the only issue really for me.
So I'll say a couple of things that's really funny, and I'm guilty of this too, but I'm just trying to be objective. Like when it comes to the geekdom community and those who love like the TV shows, all the MCU stuff, the DC stuff, because I include all all superhero stuff into that mix. It's just so funny how a lot of times we are very impatient about things, and then when we finally get what it is that we're asking for, it's still like not like up to snuff. So I know for the longest time, people were asking, where's this trailer? When are they going to show this trailer? Like, how come we haven't gotten anything of She-Hulk? Because up to this point, before we got this trailer, we got like what? We got I think from a quick tease or a quick shot of like the back of her outfit, I think like that shot that we saw in this trailer
in the gym or whatever,
like with her costume. I think we got a quick shot of that, a quick peek of that, and then for the longest time, which was surprising, we thought that scene where we saw a character getting out of a vehicle at some type of press event, we thought that was a scroll, but it was actually her. Like when they
I didn't say that. You said that. I never said that.
A lot of people were saying that. I was saying that too.
Like, I never said that. I said it could be She-Hulk, man.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be royalty, like whatchamacallit, the scroll.
It's okay,
queen.
man.
It's okay. But still, like it the trailer had some reveals that I wasn't anticipating, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And then at the same time, going back to what I was just saying is we're still like this show comes out when, like, and looking at the poster here, like we still have time before this show comes out. Like we're just now getting an official trailer. They're still
August
gonna have
17th.
time. Yeah, they're still going to have time to tweak away at what the special effects are, but at least we finally got a trailer. People, if we didn't get a trailer until like next month, people would have been complaining that we didn't get a trailer yet. But like, at the same time, if we're not getting a trailer early enough, it means that they're really working away at the,
some people just whining for no reason, man. It doesn't matter.
So like, all that to say is this. Calm down. The show hasn't come out yet. They still have time to tweak the special effects, like between now and when the show comes out. But I will agree with you with this is that it will be interesting to see who ends up, cameoing into the show. Because unlike many of the other shows where they're very specific in terms of their niche, where you kind of have that Leave It to Beaver, quality or aesthetic that you had with WandaVision, and it was very self-contained. You have that military component or espionage component with Falcon and Winter Soldier. You kind of have that ground level element happening with Hawkeye, where it wasn't really a lot of supernatural
But they had
elements.
cameos of it.
You
You
did,
had other
but
people that
most of it
continue.
was pretty much grounded, with
Yeah.
characters that just had, a very what's his name, the actor has said, about Clint Barton. They just have a very high skill set,
Yeah.
versus having,
Actual
special
powers. Yes.
abilities. So, with this show, I feel like it has the best chance of being able to cross pollinate among all those different things, because not only will you have elements where she can interact with the ground level heroes, but there are also opportunities for villains to pop up, for heroes to pop up, and not just ground level heroes and villains that don't really have abilities. We're talking also characters that do have abilities, because more oftentimes than not, they're going to find themselves in unexpected situations where they're going to need representation. And it will be a cool, element to have that, peppered into the show, where, you see a quick run by of this character because, they're being tried for such and such that, you wouldn't think would be an issue,
That would be,
but
yeah.
it would be an issue that they have because of the superpowers that they have. And, because we don't deal with it in in real life, when you think about it, like, oh, well, this person is being tried for such and such because of this thing that they did with their superpowers. It would be very interesting, of all the crazy situations that a lot of not just heroes, but villains find themselves in because of, the abilities that they have and how that can affect, the everyday lives of people. So that was one thing that I would say was really cool about the first Spider-Man film, when they had that element of like the cleanup crew.
Yeah.
After the big event in New York.
Incident.
Yeah, the incident in New York, as they quote it or call it.
Oh, whatever. Yeah.
That whole group and the whole idea of that group of, how these, larger than life events can help, can affect the small guys like that don't have, those powers, and how it affects their lives and how they have to
Exactly.
navigate through those things. Because we had an element kind of that in Hawkeye, where Kate Bishop was inspired by Hawkeye and observing, how he was observing him fight in the in the Battle of New York. So we've gotten teases of that, but I feel like in this show we have a bigger canvas to be able to explore that further. So it'll be very interesting to see how it's developed and what we get from it. So any other thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, and also like the settlements and stuff, like people, because then like Tony Stark, I think he was settling with a lot of people, like, yeah, he can do it, or for whatever reason, because he took over.
Or
Most of
even
that
like
anyway.
from other films, or even films that are about to come out, like they now have
or
an
from
opportunity.
or even from Civil War, like stuff fall out from that still, or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
Obviously,
Whether it's fallout for movies that we've already had, or even fallout from films that are coming out in the future, they can have characters randomly pop up from those respective movies because they're in prison for what they did in one of the movies, and they can pop up at any time. So that's a cool
that'd be.
possibility.
Because I haven't really gotten into doing that
Like
with the
what
shows.
happens to them afterwards? Like now we can see that.
Well, you're obviously seeing that with Abomination,
Sure.
being in there. So, but yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, you're getting the Hulk in there. I mean, until they do another Hulk movie, this is the closest you're gonna get to like a Hulk, more of the Hulk not being, we're just focusing on him or his life.
Even though to this day we need to do a World Breaker Hulk, guys. That needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
He needs to
but I
wreck
mean, there's
shop
still
and
some.
crush
I think there's some
everybody.
issue with Universal having the
Yeah,
solo
it is.
rights. But I mean, I think that's hilarious because I don't see them they're not making a Hulk movie. But yeah, so no, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I know so I have noticed some people have been, we're talking about diversity. I think, I mean, I'm not. I've seen some comments where people are like, man, I think Marvel's just trying to be woke and push the females, and I'm just like, to me, that just says that y'all are just people who say that. It's like it sounds like they're just hating that, like, oh, they're trying this new direction. And like I will say, I do like how Marvel is switching it up and focusing on some of these other characters that haven't had a live day. Like I always knew about She-Hulk. I didn't know all of her stories, but I think it's cool, the idea of having the cousin of Bruce Banner and everything. The only thing I would say with all these characters, I mean, like I said, I'm down to like see all these different characters, even if they don't hit as well as they could have. Whatever, at least they're trying. Like they're experimenting. Like that's why where I give Kevin Feige credit. Like he's like they're trying different things. Like they're going into different directions because they've already had all their big hits, so they can do that at least for a little bit now. The only thing is, I would like to see when are they going to actually start, building up to another Avengers movie, or maybe or like connecting it more, because they haven't really done that as much. They're just doing it slightly in certain movies. It's almost like, because with Doctor Strange, Multiversal of Madness, it was more like a end cap of WandaVision, finishing that story. I mean, you had
Right.
well, Shang-Chi, I mean, it seems like they didn't connect that to anything yet, unless they're going to connect that to the next sequel. I thought they maybe would have gone into Doctor Strange sequel with that a little bit, but like Eternals ended on stuff that has nothing to do with everything else, and not yet. And they didn't really go in deeper to like Thanos' history or nothing like that, which I thought was a missed opportunity. And then you have, what was the other one? And Black Widow was in the past. I mean, they could. Hawkeye was kind of like an end cap to that. And even with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, they tied those a little bit, but it's still not like tying everything together. So that's kind of. They haven't done that yet. So this is kind of a different phase. I'm wondering, though, with like maybe, I guess Ant-Man 3, they might start doing that with Kang. I don't know. I mean, well, Loki, I guess, planting the seeds for that. So it's just an interesting extended phase, it seems, until we get like an Avengers movie. I know people are saying that. I was hearing that in 2024 that Mystery Spot could be an Avengers film in May or something, but I don't know. Because they haven't really been building up to that. Maybe they'll start doing that once another Avengers movie comes out, or Young Avengers. I think that was like the thing. They're trying to build a Young Avengers, which I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it would have been better to probably build up the West Coast Avengers, because that'd be different. But Young Avengers, we'll see. They haven't been. Well, there's a whole bunch of other Avengers that haven't even.
There's a couple of pieces to what you said. So. And I know, like, a lot of people are like saying, okay, what is the plan, and where are they leading to? And I believe it's actually already started. The seeds are starting to be planted, and that they are shaping where they're trying to go. I think a lot of it is, what people have been thinking of as a possibility might be on the right track, and that's, Secret Wars. With all the focus that we've been having on variants and, alternate universes and all those various things, you're going to have opportunities to bring a lot of those characters back to be able to have them interact with one another, on a grander scale. And you have Kang to throw into the mix to kind of, make, keep things interesting. And then on top of that too,
the Illuminati, we know they died.
But on top of that too, back in April, so last month, and I can't remember, I want to say it was during like Moon Knight happening, and kind of a publicity run that they were doing up until Doctor Strange. And it was revealed that Kevin Feige, that he's actually, and they've done this multiple times in the past when they've done their plans for the upcoming like slate of movies and where it all leads. They're doing a retreat, which say they have a retreat plan from the brain trust or what have you of the folks at Marvel Studios of what the next 10 years are going to be. I don't know if you've heard that's
that makes sense. I mean, they've done that. I know they've done that before, talking about the other movies that they want to go. Well, all I'm saying is, but I still believe, I understand like the idea of having, shows, I mean, like I said, if you could have your self-contained, your show should be self-contained to the point where, yes, you can enjoy it by itself for the most part. But some of these, I feel like you're kind of like, I'll be honest with you, like, it didn't really impact me when I saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think we were talking about this already, but it's like my friend who went with me, he was like, he didn't completely understand the whole thing with Wanda because he's like, he didn't watch WandaVision. So it's like, I'm wondering, I mean, they didn't really have that happen before as much. I mean, I feel like people still could understand what's going on, but it is kind of true. Like where she is at that point, you kind of like, if you didn't watch WandaVision, you just like missed out on like how she got there kind of. So I thought that was kind of interesting, you know, from a different perspective. But it's hard for me because like I watch everything. I make sure I watch everything. And even with What If, there's things in What If that like I'm sure some people are probably like, I don't want to see a cartoon. But like, yo, there's stuff in you're gonna miss out if you don't watch that. And I'm sure they're gonna tie in because I mean, and that's what and that show is actually one of their best ones. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's just like I still think even with like Moon Knight, like I thought Moon Knight was pretty good and is unique and everything. I still kind of wish they had some sort of connection, even towards the end or whatever, you know, or with the stuff with the god, you know, like because I mean, it, you know,
there were
God, Gore the God,
yeah, there were some wasted. Yeah, there were some wasted
it's like they don't need. It doesn't need to be a main thing, but it just having because like okay, so going. I'll give you a good example. Even though it was very slight. I mean, I know there was a reference to Madripoor. What is it? I think in Moon Knight. That was like the only thing. I think that. Yeah. But whatever. That is not. But like you know, going back to was it Iron Man 2? No, Iron Man 2.
Avatars, but good.
But Iron Man 2. No, Iron Man 2. There was little things in there like they're like you could they're the whole Pegasus, Wakanda, like all that stuff was like on them. You know,
I get it.
And like they also taught, and also they talked about
why they didn't go that way because to your point, I get what you're saying about Iron Man 2. But there is a balance in that regard, and I want to say Iron Man 2 is a little guilty of focusing too much.
I'm not talking about even what they said, but like it was on like some of that stuff was in like the background. You know, like I'm just saying there were certain things that were even if it's in the background slightly, or you know. So I'm just saying like.
But I get what you're saying. Like there are some things that they could have done.
And Eternals, I think, is the most guilty of this because they try to do two things at the end, and it's just like. If you have no idea I'm sure most people are like, "What the hell happened at the last bonus scene?"
Well,
they're like, "What does that have to do with Eternals?" You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I feel like your bonus scenes got to connect with your next sequel or what's going to happen on that path. But then also, if you're going to bring something big, like you got to put in lay some groundwork or have some Easter eggs or has to be a central part of that story. Otherwise, it just seems like, all right, there's going to be something else happening. You have no clue. No one's going to know what the hell's going on. We know because I know those characters, but come on.
The avatars that they introduced in Moon Knight, you know, the avatars of, you know, each
yes, for the different guys.
Like, I feel like, and this has been brought up, so, you know, I can't take credit of this, but, you know, it is an interesting idea, is that just that idea of potentially bringing in the avatar for Bast, because Bast is among, you know, you have that pantheon of Egyptian gods, and Bast actually has, you know, familial ties to Khonshu. So it would have been cool to actually have that character when they had all those representatives appear, that you had a representative from Wakanda, whoever is Black Panther currently in this point in time, to pop up. I get it. Maybe they would have done it if, you know, unfortunately, you know, if Chadwick was still around, but because they're still trying to, you know,
keep that under wraps of what's going to happen.
Keep that under wraps of who the new character is. That's why they didn't do it. So I get that. But I will say this. I do agree with what you're saying. And then here's the funny thing, you know, they allegedly that was something that they were going to do too, to your point, is actually tying in Thor 2.
Like he could have killed all of them or something.
Saying, the reason why we weren't seeing so many of the gods is because they were
someone's been killing them
Thor and been killing them. So
that's like a layup. Boop, but no,
he was actually allegedly he was supposed to actually just appear, like just outright appear.
I'm just saying you're gonna bring in gods and you have gods. In other words, like.
I agree with you. There was an opportunity there.
I mean, I know they haven't gotten to X-Men yet, but man, it would have been great if you had like something about inside about nerd. Like, what the hell is that? Egyptian. Because he's like, and then or Kang. They could have like a quick thing with like Kang's face, or you know. I'm just saying he doesn't have to be alive, but they could be like, who's this guy? They could just be like, who's this guy? Oh, and then just you know. I'm just saying, like,
but I get it though, because
not everybody will know. It's fine if not everyone knows, but the
but
fans
still,
can be like, "Oh
you have
shit!"
6 episodes to do in a character that someone knows absolutely nothing
But
about.
they bring in
So
a
I
hippopotamus guy.
understand, but I understand. So I understand why the choice was made not to
I'm
do
not
that.
saying
I
spend a
still
lot of
say there's
time.
an
I'm talking about a
opportunity.
quick. I'm talking about a quick. You see something. I'm not talking about it going into it. Just like a quick. You see something, and then it might go over people's heads, but it's kind of like, oh shit. Oh, sorry. Well,
They did, to a point, they did reference Black Panther towards the end, like in that second to last episode, whether
oh,
it was
how
very
what did
slightly
you
or
say?
not, because they talked about the realm, or that plane of
Oh yeah,
existence
when
with the ancestors. They were talking
yeah. That's
about,
true. That's true.
yeah, with the hippo, as you said, with the that goddess.
That
They were
hippo thing. Oh
commenting on
my
that plane of, they were talking
god.
about that plane of existence, with, similar to what they were doing with Wakanda. So that's what they were referencing. So even if it was ever so slight, you can still, yeah, there's still ways that you can
I'm
do
just
it.
saying,
So there were opportunities.
I'm not mad at, them trying to really focus and introduce and focus on a new character or whatever. So, like, I agree with the idea. Like, people got to enjoy each movie or each series on its own merit. Like, it shouldn't have to rely on all this other interconnected stuff. But I'm saying Marvel had like they were the ones who mastered this self-contained great story, whatever, and then it's like we have little Easter eggs and we tie. I just feel like now it's like maybe I'm sure they have a plan or they're trying to have a plan. Maybe they do and they're working on it, but it's just like I feel like they're starting to
And
like
to your
lack
point,
some of these areas. Like, what are y'all
that's
doing?
why I have the article next to us right here. So shout out to Collider. This is the article that I'm sharing from, them. This was actually revealed at CinemaCon. So, for those who went to CinemaCon, Feige, told the audience that he would not have it highlighted there. He told the audience that he would be heading to Marvel Studios retreat directly after CinemaCon. So he's more than likely is about to go on one, or he already has done so in that time since, because CinemaCon happened, back in April. So, my guess is, that they already kind of had like maybe the outline of what they were planning to do, and perhaps they used that retreat to really kind of like nail down what the specific details of what that plan is. So,
but I have a feeling like
we shall see,
because they've been, I mean, they did a good job with Hawkeye and like tease like they're like, oh, Echo's gonna come out, and then it's like, we see where that went. It's like, all right, there's gonna be Echo series, and you have Kingpin now. It's gonna be in there. I have a feeling because they're saying this the Daredevil series. I have a feeling they're gonna try and tie it in at the end and be like, oh, Daredevil, that, like, or do something like that. I have a feeling there's gonna be some transition because they have to find a way.
I just want a Kingpin and Spider-Man film. I want Kingpin.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, and have the real Sinister Six, not the Sinister Five from a different freaking. Yo, hey, yeah, where's Venom gonna? Yeah, the little Venom, bloop, little black goo, little tiny goo. We're gonna have another Venom now? Oh my god, I don't know, man. But I don't think he's gonna come back for a while. I mean, I think they're gonna take a break from the Spider-Man films until he comes back like Avengers. Like, they don't need to, and then Sony's gonna keep doing their crappy. Oh my goodness, man. And that's another conversation. But hey, man, when you try to copy other movies and make a bad
it's
version,
a toss up. There are films that I've really enjoyed, and there have been others that.
But even so, they're just not. To me, they're just not. But none of them have really been any better than at least the new ones, the solo ones, the solo villain ones. But
he's saying post Raimi.
Yeah, well, that's not the same
because into the what is it, the Spider-Verse.
I'm talking about live. I'm talking about live action Spider-Man extended character films that have nothing to do with MCU. But then now they're trying to bring the MCU. They're using some of the MCU storylines to put in their universe. And then I'm just saying, Anyway, but yeah, Kingpin would be awesome in the Spider-Man film with the Sinister Six. Keyword 6, not 5. You tell me, man. That was a Sinister 5. That was like a wannabe Sinister.
Well, we were supposed to actually.
Where was Venom? That would have been
no, exactly. You were supposed to be the 6th member, but they felt that it would have already crowded. They felt that it would have already crowded. What they already had going with.
I guess Doctor Strange was the 6th. Doctor Strange was the 6th one because they disagreed. So he was.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, because
On
remember he
that
was
note,
like he was a temporary six.
on that
I
note,
mean, I'm like,
guys.
am I wrong? That's six there. And then we gotta forget though, Dr. Ock turned good though, so then they traded out, so it was only five still. My bad. So
On
went down
that
to
note,
four.
guys, we are gonna call it a night. Thank you guys so much for watching this edition of This Week in Review, only on Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Before we go, I'm gonna punt it over to Jerome. Go
I
ahead.
know this is a long web. I will just say one last thing. We also
Yes,
had.
go ahead.
You'll see our shorts, man. We had a good recap. You'll see the Preakness 20. That was a really good event. I know Brandon was
Yes.
at the Alexandria. Was it Old Town Car Show or show?
Yeah,
What's it
so there
called?
were two. There were two actually.
Yeah, you
There
went to
was
two. Okay,
Yeah, so there was one that was like
classic
classic
car. Yeah,
car
yeah.
show and cookout, and then today they had the I guess what was it, this Old Town? Yeah, it was an Old Town car show with a lot of like luxury sports cars. So it was pretty cool. So you can check it out there. Some of the cars that were seen, so to speak. You can check them out on the shorts there, but we also, which you can also find on Facebook, we'll be also sharing it over on YouTube. And Jerome didn't even touch on this. Outside of even Preakness, we had what was it?
Oh yeah, fight.
Fight.
Fight. I forgot.
Yeah, Fight for
It's
Children.
all yeah.
Fight for Children honors.
The new version of Fight Night. Yeah. So
And
just
we
a little
had
recap.
some hilarious interviews.
Yeah, if you guys
whether it was
check
between
Facebook.
Chris Tucker
And
or
Dikembe Mutombo.
Dikembe, I'm about to say Dikembe
You're
Mutombo.
a basketball expert. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I know. I'm tripping, man. Hey, it's Sunday night. But Dikembe Mutombo, Chris Tucker, Jay Farrow.
Jay Farrow,
Man,
we got some good impressions.
Hilarious.
He did Obama and Stephen A. Smith.
Sheila Johnson. All some awesome chats with some of the guests that we had there. So you could, as I say, you could check out kind of like the
Brian
raw
Mitchell,
footage. Brian Mitchell,
Ken Harvey,
yeah,
and I think there was one other. Yeah, but those are the main ones.
Yeah, but yeah, no, you could check out the
Oh yeah, Macklemore performed.
Yes.
So yeah, he performed, and no, it was a good night. You might have seen the years past. There was Fight Night when we also interviewed Chris Tucker, and there was Stephen Cable Jr.
Yeah.
So this was like
it was quite a few.
Like a newer version.
Yeah,
this is kind of like a newer version that kind of had a hybrid. Just give you it was great. I mean,
Macklemore cool because I mean,
I enjoyed it.
It added a whole different dynamic of being outside versus being indoors. And I mean, when it has been indoors, it before it was during the winter, so it was understandable that we were indoors. But it was nice to be. I haven't been over by the wharf since they changed.
I haven't been to Anthem before. That was
since they fixed up everything over there, or I should say like rebuilt over there. And yeah, like it was like the venue that we had it at, as you said, the Anthem, and even where we did the red carpet, it was pretty cool. So as I say, you can check out like the raw footage there over on Facebook, but we will be transferring it very soon over to our YouTube channel. So if you are just a stickler about just enjoying our YouTube content, it is coming. It will be transferred over there. Don't worry. But with that being said, as I said, I'm going to punt it over to
just wanted to say that
here. So go ahead.
Definitely, yeah. So you could check me out on Instagram or Twitter at JWBourgeois21. That's down there. And you could also check us out on Movers Shakers Unlimited on Instagram. So that's just Movers Shakers Unlimited. Also, we are on Twitter and Facebook at Move and Shake UNLTD. That's Move and Shake UNLTD. And if you want to support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/MoversShakersUnlimited. Shout out to my sister. She's a Patreon member. So shouting you out. We're talking Friday. So you'll watch this. And I'm sure you'll enjoy it. YouTube, definitely subscribe to us on YouTube. We're getting closer to that goal. We appreciate everybody, commenting and subscribing. So just subscribe, youtube.com/MoversShakersUnlimited. Tell your family, friends, tell us what you want us to, report on, talk about. We always like taking your feedback. We just like, talking about these different things. You can tell the passion, hey, people might like some of the ideas we talk about. Anyway, and also the events that we cover. Like you also, not only the show we have, and we have several other shows like Brandon, he'll tell you about any new ones we have with our different team members, but also just we have on the shorts. Some of the events you'll see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Like like I said, I was at Preakness. There was a lot of people there. Like you'll see like Gayle King was there, the governor. There of Maryland. There was who else? Kevin Lyles. It was a good time behind the scenes stuff. Just hanging out. And we try to give you that inside look and behind the scenes look of some of these high profile events and fun events to go to. And like I said, there's some more stuff coming up this week. And if either I'm there or Brandon's there, we try to bring you that firsthand look, behind the scenes coverage. So I'm gonna punt it back to you, Brandon, if you want to mention anything else. But thank you for watching, and we always like the feedback and have the support of of our fans.
All right, awesome. So I want to give a shout out as always to JB Jerome Bourgeois, director of Predator 7. Appreciate you, man. Joking. Maybe I'm not. Maybe one day.
Hey man,
maybe
might
one day.
Hey,
but
man,
anyway,
you could be a predator.
hey. Be a Yautja, right? Be a Yautja.
Yeah,
Yautja
grow like 5 more.
Right. Yeah.
We'll put you on stilts.
But anyway, again, shout out to JB for hopping on and co-hosting with This Week in Review. We have a lot of things, as Jerome was saying, that are on the way. A lot of things that actually are still, being, developed behind the scenes. So, as soon as we have, absolute idea of or confirmation on those things, because we're very much, excited to share it with you. They're still just, as I said, developing behind the scenes. So we will be sharing those with you when that time comes. So be on the lookout for those. A lot of con-related stuff, exciting con-related stuff. We'll still have, our impromptu, coverage and content of, shows that are here around in the area, of course. We have Awesome Con coming up in a couple of weeks. So, if you were watching the episode of New Frontiers earlier today with team members Josh and Chris, Chris will be doing a panel at Awesome Con for who's worthy of lifting Mjolnir. And I will also, as well, be doing a panel of cheesy line contest. So, if you, desire to perform the cheesiest lines from the corniest movies ever made, you are welcome to join us. And over the course of this week, I will be posting up, more details, on those panels. And also, as that information comes in with Chris's stuff, I will be sharing that as well. So make sure you check out both of those panels. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We have some awesome momentum going on right now in terms of us, hitting, our goal, our subscriber goal. So thank you to those of you that have subscribed. We're trying to keep up that momentum. We're halfway there, and I know that we'll be on there that way, soon enough. So thank you guys so much that are helping us along in that journey or on that, journey to reach that goal. Outside of that, I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
Peace.